In my room, catching up on MSA, when my parents had their 100th argument of the day.
You bought a neck cream for $1,000? Yeah, so? You know how delicate the skin around the neck is? Staying in this stupid village stresses me out. I have wrinkles now. I'm officially unlovable. I still love you. Like that matters.
Outer beauty is just a lie, Mother. It's what's inside that counts. If you really want to be loved, you need to fix your personality. And while you're at it, please fix your posture too, or you'll have a hunchback soon. Mom stared at me before bursting into tears and running away. Okay, maybe it was a bit harsh, but hey, that was me trying to help Mom become lovable. It was a good deed. Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm about to tell you how my parents ruined my life. But before I do, please hit like and subscribe. I knew very early on that I wasn't an ordinary kid. By 3, I could use a knife and a fork to cut apples to perfection. By 10, I could recite Shakespeare word for word. By 13, I could bake pastries that could give a French baker a run for his money. I've always wondered how I turned out to be so amazing. Maybe my great-great-grandma or grandpa was an extremely responsible, talented, sophisticated person, and I got my unique genes from there, because my parents were a total mess. Dad owned a vineyard, and every year he would struggle to create a new wine variety, and every year he'd fail. Mom was a self-involved ex-beauty queen who kept complaining about how she gave up everything for her marriage. Now her only talent was blowing up money we didn't even have on makeup and skincare. Like this one time when I was 16, Mom bought some anti-aging cream off the internet that gave her a bad reaction, and Dad had to pay a lot for her skin treatment.
My face looks like a swollen monkey's butt. This is all your fault. If only you were rich and I could afford plastic surgery. If only you were smart enough to read the label, darling. Did you just call me dumb?
If you keep screeching like a banshee, Mom, we'll have to get you new vocal cords too. But before I could finish, she picked up a tray next to her bed and flung it at Dad. Dad ducked, the tray hit the TV screen on the wall, and he ended up paying more to the hospital. Even though Dad was pissed, he went home early and arranged a surprise welcome home party for Mom. But she decided to surprise him instead by packing her bags and leaving for good. And divorce papers soon followed.
How could she leave me like that? I've done nothing but love her.
Please compose yourself, Dad, and let's not cry over spilled milk.
What?
You'll get over it. I'm not some stone-hearted witch. Trust me, I missed my mom too. But I wasn't gonna bawl my eyes out like a silly baby with no self-control. One of those in the house is enough. Dad threw himself into work after that, while I focused on school and picked up baking full-time. By 18, I got a job at a small cafe, and life went back to normal. Then one evening, Dad told me excitedly that he'd finally found an investor, Mr. Sharman, for his new wine batch, and he had invited us over for dinner to talk further. That evening, we were welcomed warmly by Mr. Sharman. He was showing us around his mansion, when suddenly, my world kind of stopped. This really gorgeous guy walked in, sadly with the prettiest girl on his arm. Apparently, he was Mr. Sharman's nephew and financial manager, Darren, and it was hard to keep my eyes off of him. At one point, he was feeding her grapes when one fell down. He bent to pick it up, and I saw the girl staring at me, staring at his butt. I got so flustered that I stepped back and knocked over a huge bowl of punch, getting plenty all over myself. So humiliating. As I cleaned myself up and walked out of the bathroom, I crashed into Darren in the hallway.
Wow, are you always this clumsy? Or do I have this effect on you?
I am not clumsy. I am the very picture of grace, and you have no effect on me.
My date said you were staring at my butt when the accident happened.
That's a false accusation, a blatant lie. Why would I be staring at your rear end?
It's okay. I don't blame you. I work out a lot.
Yes, it shows, and your behind is perfectly sculpted like a Georgia peach. But what does that have to do with me? Your girlfriend sounds like an insecure lady just making up nonsense.
I doubt that you would make her insecure. She's a model and you, well, you look and talk like you're Mary Poppins' daughter. No offense.
With that, he grinned and just walked off. I loved Mary Poppins, but it didn't feel like a compliment coming from him. I joined Dad and Mr. Sharman, but minutes later, someone tapped on my shoulder, and I nearly passed out when I saw Mom?
Surprise! What is happening?
Mom told us how she'd met Mr. Sharman on a cruise and they'd fallen in love. They'd been dating for a few months and she only recently moved back to the city.
I went to the house and saw that your dad was still poor as a street rat, so I thought of investing in his business and helping him out. Am I not the best ex-wife ever?
This is certainly unexpected, but calling yourself the best ex-wife is an exaggeration, Mother. My father and I have something called self-respect, and we'd like to keep it. So please, excuse us. I grabbed Dad's hand and we left. We were still reeling from the shock of meeting Mom, but the next evening she showed up at our door begging us to hear her out. I wanted to turn her away, but Dad gave her a chance.
I know I left you too abruptly and hurt you, and I'm really sorry. But despite everything, you're still my family. I have a chance to make things right by getting your father the break he deserves, and I'd love to reconnect with my only daughter too.
I wanted to be less cynical and believe this was an unselfish act, but I wasn't convinced. Dad, however, was staring at her with stars in his eyes, and he agreed to take Mr. Sharman's investment. After she left, I turned to Dad. I know you want to succeed, but is this really a good idea?
Trust me, I know it is. Also, I think your mother's still in love with me, and I have another shot.
What? Dad, no, she's happy with her rich boyfriend.
We'll see.
Good Lord, was this gonna end up with Dad as a weeping disaster again, and I'd be picking up the pieces again? But I couldn't do anything to stop it. Soon, Dad and Mr. Sharman were meeting regularly and getting to know each other before making the deal, while Mom wanted me to hang out with her so we could bond, which meant I had to see a lot more of Darren every time I went over to their house, or when Mom took me to some fancy party. And to my dismay, he even started visiting the coffee shop I was working at every time with a new girl. Can't you find another cafe as your saliva-exchanging rendezvous spot?
Your mom told me you're the baker here, and I thought I was doing you a favor by bringing you business. But I get it. Seeing me with all those girls makes you jealous. Do you wish you were one of them, Julia? You can be, you know. I've got 20 minutes before my date turns up.
As if I'd ever want to date an insufferable Neanderthal who thinks he's God's gift to women.
One kiss from me, and you think I'm God's gift to women too. I'm curious, have you ever kissed anyone? I mean a boy, not your cat or your grandma.
Of course I have. I have a very steady boyfriend of 2 years, and I'm wildly in love with him.
Wow, does he also talk like he has a stick up his butt? I'm dying to meet him now. Let's have a double date tomorrow. How about a movie and dinner? I'll text you the details.
Just then, his date of the day turned up, and I walked off. I had to find myself a boyfriend by tomorrow. I asked one of the newest interns at the cafe to be my date and showed up at the movie theater the next evening. After I'd introduced my boyfriend happily, we took our seats and the movie started. But Darren and his date kept giggling and whispering like teenagers. Sorry to disturb you guys, but my boyfriend Billy...
Actually, it's Bobby.
Billy, Bobby, tomato, tomato. Anyway, Barry and I are trying to watch the movie and would appreciate it if you guys could keep it down. Darren simply smirked and looked away, but minutes later he started making out with his date. You're still noisy.
You're still annoying.
Cut it out.
Bite me.
I grabbed Darren's soda and spilled it on his head. He got angry and knocked down my tub of popcorn, and we got into a huge argument. Soon enough, we were thrown out by security.
Wow, this was a terrible date.
I'm so sorry. Let's part ways with these two and grab some burgers?
Sure, if you can tell me my name.
You're so funny. Baby?
It's Bobby.
My date stormed off angrily, and I caught one look at Darren's smug face and fled the scene. But the next morning, as I was walking to school, a car slowed down by me, and I saw it was Darren.
Hop in. I'll drop you.
No, thank you. I do not need you to rub last night in my face.
You're clearly troubled if you can't manage to have a real boyfriend. But I don't have time for that right now. I need to talk to you about your mom.